Guys, apparently the manga for Death Note has a ton more stuff than the anime show has ever really shown, and as somebody who's only seen the anime today, maybe we're going to learn a little bit what happened in the manga, because I came across this video, I thought it'd be a fun reaction to do. The anime ruined Death Note. A little bit of a vague title, but I'm assuming it's going to get into the manga material, and as somebody who doesn't know what's in the manga material, I'm excited to talk about this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels. Please go show the creator some love in the pinned comment description down below. Let's get into it.
Death Note, beloved by many fans, and most notable for its excellent portrayal of cat and mouse, exploring morality on a much broader scale, and its many psychological aspects that absolutely hook the viewer in.
It's one of my first anime shows I've ever seen, and I've rewatched it since. It is still to this day one of the not only greatest anime shows that I've seen, but one of the greatest shows that I've seen, period. It's some of my favorite work in all of fiction.
We also can't forget about its large selection of OSTs, which still hold up to new-gen anime.
Hang on. I don't know what its OST and what is an OST. Am I stupid? Maybe it's something that I haven't seen.
Over a decade ago. But what makes the series most unique is that both the anime and manga have totally different endings. This has caused a lot of division amongst fans, because it's pretty hard to decide which ending is the most fitting for such a...
I had no idea. I knew there was material in the manga that was left out, and apparently there was quite a bit left out about I guess Nier's story. There were some things that could have made it more interesting that fans are upset about, but I didn't know they completely switched up the ending.
Captivating series. So today, we're going to be analyzing both endings and decide which one is more fitting from a thematic standpoint.
Wow, okay.
It's clear that the anime takes a more melancholic and sympathetic approach when showing Light's demise. After he's shot by Matsuda, he's bleeding out on a dirty warehouse floor and practically screaming for someone to save him.
And it's, don't get me wrong, I don't know what we're about to watch, but I loved the ending for Death Note. I thought it was a perfect conclusion for Light. If it's something that rivals this, I don't know, man. I'm actually low-key excited to watch this video.
For some, it may feel vindicating to see Light go out in such a harsh way, whereas others may feel nothing but pity for what Light has become. However, this is where the changes begin. As Light lies bleeding out on the floor, Mikami suddenly stabs himself in the neck with a pen. His wounds are deemed to be grave, and it's declared that he'll die soon. Yeah,
to be honest with you, I didn't really care about Mikami, but Light was an interesting one. I don't know how I felt about Light, because he became a monster, and it's really tough, because as a man of faith, I can look at this from my own perspective of being like, Light has no place to take over as a god, things like that. But if Kira existed in real life, it would pretty well condition society to behave a certain way, like we did see as Death Note continued. It's tough. But where you can't go with Light is when he started to get really egotistical and was killing anybody that ended up standing in his way, and getting satisfaction after just beating these people and killing those people. Like what he did to Naomi, what he did to Ray Pember, those types of things. That's when Light becomes indefensible. Not just the original idea of like, hey, I'm going to get rid of any criminal. Besides, we could get into it a little deeper about how problematic that might be, because you could be killing people that were wronged by the justice system and things like that.
Light uses this opportunity to get up and run away, which is pretty insane because he was shot about 5 times. Matsuda and Aizawa attempt to chase after him, but Nier claims that with his wounds he won't be going far. Aizawa learns to stand up for himself and decides to ignore Nier's orders and chase after Light with Matsuda. As Light begins to run away, we get a flashback to when things were simpler. Specifically,
yeah, I really enjoyed that, because there was a part where he saw, did he see L? But I don't know if he saw L, but there was a point where he ended up walking past himself, just going about having a normal life. I loved that. I loved him going, what am I gonna do now? Where are you, Misa? And Misa actually wasn't there for him, and after treating Misa like absolute crap, I loved that.
During his high school days. At that time, all Light had to worry about was cram school and exams, rather than outsmarting L and the task force. Suddenly, Light literally sees his pre-time skip self walking towards him.
Yeah, dude, I thought that was a really nice touch, and that I'm sure that he's going to end up talking about him falling in the middle of the staircase as well.
Both pre- and post-time skip Light had completely different mindsets, especially before he ever picked up the notebook. It's almost like at this very moment, Light began to regret it all. Even if Light had won in the end, he would have had nothing.
It seems like he did regret it. You can look at the design of his eyes too.
Father is dead. His mother and sister are completely traumatized by everything involving Kira. Misa lost her memories and he doesn't even love her.
Ooh, Misa lost her memories? What? why did Misa... If anybody can shed some light on that, I'd appreciate it. Why did Misa lose her memories at the end? Maybe there's something that's slipping my mind.
And Target is gone. The whole situation is tragic and shows all the deaths and scheming were for nothing. Light could have gone on to become a great detective without ever having to shed blood. He had an absurd amount of potential and had good intentions, but went about it in a terrible way. Light essentially makes his way to another abandoned building, and
before we end up getting into that, it's true, like, Light ended up getting corrupted with power. It's tough. Because it started out... Dude, this is such an interesting show in general.
Last speech from Ryuk, who cements the fact that Light has indeed lost. He tells Light that as part of the agreement between human and Shinigami, he will be writing his name in the notebook. Ryuk gets bored easily and doesn't want to wait, because if they were to actually arrest Light, he'd never actually be released. Ryuk tells Light that he'll die here, and the camera pans over to the staircase. This is actually symbolic, as a staircase can often represent the path to heaven. But
then, like, he ended up laying in the middle, and then as, I don't remember if it was Ryuk, or I don't know if it was written in the Death Note, but at some point it said in the anime show, like, is a person that uses the Death Note goes to neither heaven nor hell.
Light is only able to make it halfway before his name is written in the notebook.
To be fair, with all of the evil that Light did, it might be better to go to the Shinigami realm than it might be to go to hell, which is just flat out eternal suffering. At least they can be bored, at least they can gamble, at least, like, he can do what Ryuk does.
Which symbolizes the fact that he'll never go to heaven or hell. The only path for him is Mu, which quite literally means nothing. So to summarize everything, the anime ending takes a more sympathetic approach as Light begins to die.
Yes. Okay, so they tell me it's going to get brutal with Light. I've never heard of an alternate ending to Death Note before. Very interesting. And I just lost my train of thought. I was about to start talking about something where... Oh, so he goes to nothingness. I thought they went to the Shinigami realm. How did they become Shinigami then?
It's meant to portray him as a misguided genius who tried to use the Death Note for good, but ended up becoming corrupted and consumed by his own ego and god complex.
Yeah.
In the end, Light was never a god. Getting shot by Matsuda, fleeing for his own life, and dying on the middle of a staircase cemented it all.
And it was pretty hard too when Nier said, and again, I'm paraphrasing, it's been a while since I've actually seen the ending, where he's like, Light goes, "Oh, I am god of the new world," and Nier goes, "No, you're just a murderer. And this notebook is the biggest weapon of mass destruction ever created." Just like flat out ignores him, and Light goes, you know?
Light could have had everything and anything he ever wanted if he fully committed himself to the path of good. But his own boredom and desire for recognition ended up being his own downfall. But what about the manga? How is Light's demise any different? The manga ending is far more realistic and brutal for Light. He's nothing more than a wounded animal.
Hang on. Let me read that real quick. Misa, kill these guys. Misa, where's Misa? Pant. What is that idiot doing at a time like this? Hotel. Misa Mane is a Tito hotel right now. Oh, wow. He's still disrespecting Misa after all of that.
Desperate, trying to live by any means possible.
So hang on. It also said, "Don't come near me. Stop it." Oh, so it's a little more brutal. I love that.
He begs Ryuk to help him.
Oh, hang on. I'm sorry, guys, if you've already seen this. I've never seen this before. I know Ryuk, you can write their names down. Write their names down in your notebook. Oh, no. And the Ryuk just stares at him. Look at his face. Dude, that's a better ending already.
Ryuk to help him. And it actually seems like Ryuk is going to intervene.
And you're all I've got left to rely on. Please, you write your names down. Please, Ryuk. So he starts begging Ryuk, and Ryuk just has that sinister smile up there. Oh my god.
Ryuk begins to write something in the...
And then he goes, "I'll write it, sure." Don't tell me, dude. Don't tell me he writes Light's name down.
The notebook, and the task force begin to panic and shoot at him.
Oh my god.
Light is filled with...
And it says, "But now that Ryuk's decided to write your names down, nobody can stop him. It's too late. You're all going to die." And he's laughing. "Sucks to be you, Nier. The only choice you had was to kill me right away."
With glee, and begins to gloat as he tells Nier that in 40 seconds he's going to die. But to Light's horror, Ryuk actually reveals that the person who's going to die is him.
Oh my god. Oh, sorry. I need to see what Ryuk said right there. Sorry about that. Light, the one who's going to die is you.
Light attempts to stop Ryuk.
No matter how I look at it, you've lost Light.
It is to no avail. He continues to beg and plead with Ryuk.
He goes, "I'm going to die. I don't want to die. No, you'll have a heart attack. It's already been decided. That's right. In 40 seconds. Wow, Ryuk ends up killing him like that? Oh my god. And he really did remain neutral. No matter how I look at it, you've lost Light.
It surprises him even more as he tells Light that he sounds so undignified. before
You sound so undignified. It's not like you stop. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. So, oh my God. So he starts like begging for his life. I think that is a way better way to end things. And I loved the original ending to Death Note. Wow.
going on to say, if he's asking him for help, then it must
He goes, no, I don't want to die. I don't want to go to prison either. And Ryuk's, oh my God, he's begging Ryuk, grabbing his legs. Dude, that's brutal.
really mean he's out of moves.
Oh my God.
Despite everything he's done, Master is the only person in the room to feel pity for him. But Aizawa tells him to remove all thoughts of sympathy. I believe in this very moment, Aizawa actually represents the author, and Masada is supposed to be the reader. As the reader, it's easy to feel sympathy for Light, no matter how bad he is. You've followed him as the main character of Death Note since the beginning. You've seen all his ups and downs.
To be honest with you, on the topic of Matsuda, I like that Matsuda was the guy to get angry and actually shoot him. I think I like that better in the original ending. I love the manga ending way more now. I think that's way better to have, like, Light begging for his life with Ryuk after, like, you know, being so arrogant, telling Nier, like, oh, well, Nier, looks like I win. He's, like, literally grabbing Ryuk by the leg. Incredible. But what I do like is Matsuda getting angry and actually finally turning on him after, like, being the guy the entire show to go, way to go, Light. Light's the best.
Come to understand him as a character and so much more. But to see him die in such a brutal and frankly depressing way would make any person just a bit sick to their stomach. To rub more salt in the wound, we get confirmation that heaven or hell does not exist in the verse of Death Note.
Oh, wow.
Ryuk only told this to Light to scare him, but he was able to deduce the truth behind the statement, which was further confirmed by Ryuk when he revealed that death is equal. All humans go to the same place once they die, which is...
So then how do you become a Shinigami then? I thought you became a Shinigami by being someone who used the Death Note, and then you have that whole thing where, like, that one Shinigami in the beginning of the show that, like, looked like Light. Or was it the end of the show? I don't remember. I just remember seeing something in the Shinigami realm.
As Light's life flashes before his eyes, he attempts to plead one last time, but is cut short by a heart attack. It's reminiscent to many of his victims, whose lives were cut short due to the Death Note. Light falls back down to the ground and utters his last words, and funnily enough, it's just, damn it.
Why would they change this? Why the hell would they change this? I didn't know what to expect going into this, but I didn't expect it to be better. Dude, that is a perfect ending for Light with the way that he made people suffer, with the way that he even just cut off people's last words. Oh.
He's reduced to nothing more than a bleeding corpse who died pathetically in the middle of a warehouse. He's survived by what is left of his family, but he won't be remembered for anything great or grand. Just like that, the genius protagonist, arguably one of the most genius protagonists in fiction, who managed to outsmart L, the police, and even the world, has now died. In short, the manga portrays Light to be a coward who was afraid of facing the same fate he imposed on others. He's broken down psychologically by Nier, who reduces his actions to nothing more than of a crazed serial killer.
Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. I really, really did like that touch. Nier just look at him blankly going, no, you're just a serial killer. Amazing.
And even Light acknowledges all the deaths counted for nothing because he was caught, which is why he absolutely crashes out when he remembers all the people he's killed or affected. He's then broken down physically when he's shot by Matsuda of all people.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like the touch. Okay, so hang on. Matsuda shoots him after that. Wait, why did Matsuda... Oh, no, Matsuda... Sorry, I was thinking that happened after everything, but he's just showing pages of the manga.
He has to beg for his life, which must hurt by an absurd amount.
Dude, by the way, I really, really like the way this video is presented, like with the pages kind of coming in. Incredible editing.
How prideful and egotistical Light is. He can do nothing more but cower in absolute fear, not just because he's lost and been exposed, but he's been told that he's going to die in 40 seconds, and there's nothing you can do about it. Any normal person would be absolutely terrified if they were told this in real life, but for Light, it just hits different. He was giving a fitting end and was killed by his own weapon. So now that we've
Wait, did he even die on the staircase? That's crazy, man. I love that.
discussed the different endings, we have to get down to the nitty-gritty of things. Which ending is actually better?
I'm sorry. I don't know about you guys. But I think it's the brutal ending. With everything that Light's done, with the person that Light's become, I think it's a very, very fitting ending to have him be the one, like, on the ground grabbing Ryuk by the leg, which is an incredible touch, begging for his life. And on top of that, like, thinking that Ryuk was going to help him out, and then just to find out that Ryuk wrote his name down, that is so much better of a conclusion.
To actually figure out which ending is better, let's discuss what both the manga and anime endings got right and wrong. Starting off with the anime. It did an excellent job of portraying Light in a more somber and sad viewpoint. However, we can't fully sympathize with Light, especially when you remember who he is. A serial killer with a god complex that had a childish view of justice. The anime...
Yeah, and by the end of it too, it wasn't more so like, I'm Kira, I want to be god of the new world. It was, I want to kill Nier. Because Nier's trying to catch me for killing people. Because at least when he first picked up the Death Note, you could argue, he could be like, well, I'm just trying to create a better world.
Ending romanticized Light's death, but we also need to remember it sacrificed a lot of common sense. Nier was perfectly fine with Light running away and didn't even consider the possibility that he had another piece of the notebook on him. Light was also somehow able to run despite getting shot 5 times.
Yeah, there were some things here that was a little bit unrealistic, but I still enjoyed it. Like the fact that, sorry, is it Giovanni? That ended up copying Mikumi's handwriting in the entire book in one night, as if.
Yes, adrenaline is a thing, but Masuda and Aizawa are trained police officers. They should have been easily able to catch up to Light, even if he got a head start.
100%. And there's there's guys that can run away, like if they're on coke or meth or something like that. But if they're just like, just pure adrenaline won't get you through it.
Mikumi's self-deletion was also an odd choice because in the manga he turns on Light completely once he's exposed and
What? How could I write their names down in a hang on, let me bring myself up here. How could I write their names down in a situation like this and with a fake notebook? Kill them, that's your job, what are you doing? Kill them, what are you doing? Help me, write their names down.
He realizes that Light is no god, but he's the same.
He calls him scum! What the hell is this? Look what you've got me into. You're just damn you. You're no god, he says.
That he detested.
Wow, hang on, what else did they say?
He realizes that Light is no god, but he's the same criminal scum that he detests.
Since he had the piece carefully hidden in the watch, he probably doesn't have any more. Mogi, ID, help me rescue Light Young. Okay, so that's pretty well. Dude, Mikumi turns on him too. Wow.
Mikumi isn't any better than Light, but at that moment of acknowledgement was very powerful. Even if the anime ending is more sympathetic, Light dying in the warehouse is far more impactful and sends a greater message. Also, as Light was running away and began to see his pre-time skip self, although it was beautifully done, I feel as though regret doesn't really suit Light's character.
I don't know if was the author confirming or something that it meant that Light was regretting it. You can see it in his eyes a little bit, but I kind of more so just looked at it like this is the life that Light could have had. I didn't necessarily know if he was regretting it or anything like that. And don't get me wrong, with this entire video, I still really, really loved the original ending, and I still do. I actually just think the manga ending's better.
Why would he regret his actions when he was this close to creating a new world? We get a bunch of info after L's death, and learn that the crime rate has drastically lowered due to the world accepting Kira's judgment. Light even went off on Nier and gave a whole speech about how he became Kira and why the world needs him. It goes to show
there you go. No, you're just a crazy mass murderer.
How delusional and insane Light had become. He legitimately thought that he could talk his way out of prison by trying to make himself out to be some holy judge, when in actuality he was a genius who grabbed a hold of a power that no man should have ever possessed. There's also Light and Ryuk's last interaction, which was very satisfying to say the least. I guess you could argue that...
Yeah, I love that. Just like, look at that picture there, man. He's laying there dying and Ryuk's just standing there smiling at him as he's begging the Shinigami after saying that he was going to just not do anything. He's going to be neutral the entire thing.
Light wasn't feeling regret, but his emotions had just reached a boiling point due to blood loss and hysteria. Nonetheless, I will say that the absolute raw emotion that was portrayed in the anime was very well directed. Once we cut over to Light running, he's initially panicking and panting.
Agreed.
He's running as fast as he can to escape, but once he sees his past self, he slows down and the breathing stops getting harsh. He's granted a moment of peace and reflection as it all clicks for him. That being, it didn't have to be this way. He could have just stuck to academics.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I'm not feeling like Light was feeling regret in that moment. If anybody is watching this video, watching this long, first of all, thank you very much for your time. If the author said anything about this, could you please let me know? Because I'm interested.
Become a great detective and help the world by solving the unsolvable, rather than expunging lives in any way he sees fit. However, the moment doesn't last forever. His past self walks by, and Light goes back to panting like a wounded prey as he continues to run off until he reaches the abandoned building. It's well done and has its own unique grittiness when compared to the manga, however it also came at a cost. We were quite literally robbed of one last conversation between Light and Ryuk. I'm aware of the fact that Ryuk spoke to Light in his final moments, but it was indirectly. Ryuk was posted up on a tower and talking about how Light lost before he said the infamous, "It's been interesting."
I liked it. I still think it was well done. I don't like necessarily need to have that last conversation between them two. I just think it would have been better if Light was begging the Shinigami for his life after using that power for so long.
Quote, and ends up killing Light. Why couldn't it be face to face like it was done in the manga? We do get a bit of fan service from L, specifically with the ghost appearing as Light begins to slowly die, but at the same time it's still odd and never explained. Assuming that was actually L's ghost and not Light hallucinating before death, how are ghosts a thing in Death Note?
Could you imagine if that's just L's ghost waiting for him to die that entire time? I knew it. I knew Kira. You're just a murderer. Gets hit with that twice.
Light's death is symbolic in the anime if you're able to ignore the whole afterlife aspect, but when you really think, it just doesn't really make sense. The anime frames it as if Light is being sent to purgatory, but that's just not a thing in Death Note.
Yeah, that's what's confusing to me a little bit. I thought they went to the Shinigami realm. I don't know how people become Shinigami then.
Everyone goes to Mu once they die.
Oh, unless that's literally nothingness. I took nothingness as like literally nothingness, but I didn't know nothingness was a place.
And even if purgatory were a thing, Light certainly doesn't deserve such a place. He was a mass murderer who started off with good intentions, but ended up becoming a shell of his former self. If pre-time skip Light before he picked up the notebook were able to see his post-time skip self, just moments before his death, he'd be absolutely horrified and disgusted at what he'd become. That's why I believe from a thematic standpoint, the manga ending surpasses the anime's ending.
Well said. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Dude, I love those pictures.
It treats Light for who he really is, and doesn't give him the benefit of a peaceful and flowery death.
To be fair, he still didn't have a peaceful death, I would say. Getting shot a bunch of times, running away with that, dying on a staircase. I wouldn't exactly call that peaceful.
Dark, dirty, and disturbing, and it shines a bit of realism onto the story. He doesn't die as a god or some entity that surpassed all of mankind. He died as another human who begged at the foot of an actual god,
yes.
that being Ryuk.
Yes.
But just because I believe the manga ending is better, it doesn't mean the anime's ending is lesser or inferior.
Exactly. Like I mean, to be honest with you, I think it is a little bit inferior. I think it would have been way better to have it as it was presented here, but I still really, really love the ending of Death Note. Very well done. One of the best shows of all time.
This is strictly one person's opinion amongst tens of millions of Death Note fans. The anime ending is still good for what it is, and overall has two endings to pick from that makes the series that much better. If you love Light as a character, the anime ending is more fitting and melancholic, but if you despise Light and wanted to see him getting taken down, then pick up the manga and read its ending.
Dude, both of them are fantastic. What a great video, man. Honestly, I need to redo my review for Death Note because I was in a time period where I had a lot going on with my life. So if you were interested in hearing a little bit of a different vibe to a video, because I believe I had the lights off and everything in that video, then check out my complete review for Death Note over here. I'd love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care, everybody.